Hello friends, today we are going to discuss the next point in your fifth chapter, that is testing. Testing is the process of evaluating a system or its components with the intent to find the defect. Testing is executing a system in order to identify any gaps, errors or missing requirements in opposite to the actual requirements. In this session, we will discuss the basic concepts and definitions relating to the testing like error, fault, failure, test cases, test suits, test harnesses, and the testing process, etc. Now let's see the basic testing concepts. Error. The mistake made by programmer is also known as an error. Error is a deviation from actual and expected value. Error could happen because of the following reasons. Because of some confusion in understanding the functionality of the software, because of some miscalculation of the values, because of misinterpretation of any values or requirements by the developer. Basically, any mistake made by developer or programmer is called as a error. Fault. Fault is a state of a software caused by an error. Fault is an incorrect step, process, or a data definition in computer program which causes the program to behave in unintended manner. Fault is a condition that causes the software to fail to perform its required function. Failure. It is a condition that causes the software to fail to perform its required function. In other words, failure means external behavior is incorrect. If under certain environment and situation, defect in the application or product get executed, then the system will produce the wrong result, causing a failure. Basically, a mistake made by a programmer causes an error. Error will lead to the fault in the program, and if the faults gets executed, the system will fail. Test cases. A test case consists of inputs given to the program and its expected output. A test case template should consist of a purpose of a test case, its precondition, what will be the inputs, expected outputs, what will be the post condition. Afterwards, if the test case is pass or failed, what is the status of that test case? If it fails, any possible reasons of a failure. And finally, who run the test case and date of a suggestion. The set of a test cases is called as a test suite. We may have a test suite of all the test cases, test suite of all successful test cases, and test suite of all unsuccessful test cases. Any combination of test case will generate a test suite. All test suites should be presented and preserved as we preserve the source code and other documents. They are equally valuable and useful for the purpose of maintenance of the software. Sometimes test suites of unsuccessful test cases gives a very important information because these are the test cases which have made the program fail in the past. Test harness. In software testing, a test harness or automated test framework is a collection of a software and test data configured to test a program by running it under varying conditions and monitoring its behavior and outputs. It has two main parts, the test execution engine and test script. Test harness allow for the automation of a test. They can call functions with supplied parameters and print out and compare the results to the desired value. The test harness is a hook to the developed code which can be tested using automated framework. Now let's see the levels of testing. Testing is usually relied upon to detect the faults remaining from earlier stages, in addition to the faults introduced during the coding itself. Due to this, Different levels of testings are used in the testing process. Each level of a testing aims to test different aspects of a system. The basic levels are unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. These different levels of a testing attempt to detect different types of a faults. The first level of a testing is called unit testing. Unit testing is essential for verification of the code produced by individual programmer, and it is typically done by the programmer itself. Pro- Basically, a programmer will test his code in initial stages. So this is the part of a unit testing. The next level of testing is called as a integration testing. In this, many unit tested modules are combined into subsystems, which are then tested. The goal here is to see if the modules can be integrated properly. Hence, the emphasis is on testing the interfaces between the modules. This testing activity can be considered testing as a testing the design. The next level is system testing. Here, the entire software system is tested. The reference document for this process is the requirement document, and the goal is to see if the software meets its requirements. This is often a large exercise. The next level of testing is acceptance testing. In this testing, a system is tested for acceptability. The purpose of this test is to evaluate the system's compliance with the business requirements and assess whether it is acceptable for the delivery. Now, let's see the testing process. The basic goal of the software development process is to produce a software which is a defect free or which don't have any defects or errors. Testing is a quality control activity which focuses on identifying defects. We have seen that different levels of a testing are needed to detect the defects injected during the various tasks in the project. Overall, testing in a project is a complex task which also consumes the maximum effort. Hence, testing has to be done properly in a project. The testing process for a project consists of three high levels. First, test planning, second, test case design, and last, test execution. Test plan. In a project, testing starts with a test plan and terminates with the successful execution of acceptance testing. A test plan is a general document for the entire project that defines the scope, approach to be taken, and the schedule of a testing, as well as identifies the test items for the testing and the personnel responsible for the different activities of a testing. The test planning can be done well before the actual testing starts and can be done in a parallel with the coding and design activity. The inputs for forming the test plans are project plan, requirement document, architecture or design document. The project plan is needed to make sure that the test plan is consistent with the overall quality plan for the project and the testing schedule matches that of the project plan. The requirement document and the design document are the basic documents used for selecting the test units and deciding the approaches to be used during testing. A test plan should contain the following: test unit specification, features to be tested, approach for testing, test deliverables, and schedule and task allocation. Test case design. The test plan focuses on how the testing for the project will proceed, which units will be tested, and what approaches are to be used during the various stages of a testing. However, it does not deal with the details of a testing, nor does it specify which test case are to be used. Test case design has to be done separately for each unit based on the approach specified in the test plan and features to be tested. Basically, a test case design should give you the test case specification, which should contain a requirement number, condition to be tested, test data and settings, inputs, outputs, expected output, status of that particular test case, etc. Test case execution. With the specification of test cases, the next step in the testing process is to execute them. This step is not so straightforward. The test case specification only specify the set of test cases for the unit to be tested. However, executing the test case may require construction of a driver modules or struts. It may also require modules to set up the environment as started in the test plan and test case specification. Only after all these are ready, we can test the or we can execute the test cases. If test case frameworks are being used, then the setting of the environment as well as the inputs for the test case is already done in the test scripts and the execution is straightforward. During a test case execution, defects are found. These defects are then fixed and testing is done again to verify the fix. So this is overall the testing process. If you are having any queries related to this point, please feel free to drop your queries in the discussion forum created under software engineering subject on a Moodle. Thank you for listening.